welcome to the podcast. I'm Ashton,
I'm Mason.
I'm Val.
and this is our special guest.
Gavin.
Can't have a podcast without monsters.
Actually, it's a 4x4.
These two are mine. Alright, so today it's pretty much a freestyle. Right?
Yeah.
Right, yep.
Yeah, it's very.
So, as our guest, you want to start us off for this episode?
Sure. I want to know your guys' opinion on the Odell Beckham Jr. trade to the Browns. I think that'd be a good starting point.
Okay. I had no idea about this, but that sounds.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't know about
No. But that's pretty cool. It sounds like the Browns are gonna be stacked.
Dude, the Browns are going to be stacked.
Okay.
Oh, and just a disclaimer, Jason's not here today, so... Okay, enough.
Yeah.
I think all I have to say about that is it was surprising. I don't know how it's gonna go, but
Yeah,
That's what's up.
last season I think the Giants said that they were giving him, extending his contract because they weren't going to trade him, and they ended up trading him anyway. So,
To the Browns.
yeah. I think it's also going to be a cool dynamic between him and Jarvis Landry being on the same core again. I mean, they played in high school, they played in college together, and now they're going to play in the NFL together, so that's going to be pretty cool. I think they might make a playoff push, too, at the end when they come Kareem Hunt's 8-game suspension. So,
Yeah, especially if Baker
Maker Bayfield.
Baker Mayfield does good this season. That'll be really good.
Oh, yeah, that's what I said earlier today.
That's
It's exactly what I said
Yeah,
earlier.
I know.
He, it really all just depends on him, because the offense kind of rolls through your quarterback, right? I mean, if your quarterback sucks, your whole team's going to suck. So,
They'll have that.
if he plays at a consistent level and they plays like he did this season and actually gets his playmakers the ball, I think they're going to win their division and maybe make a playoff run. So, you heard it here first.
What do you guys think about the March Madness tournament?
I don't know. I think it'll be pretty good. I mean, they're good every year, right? Right now, the championship week is going on, so all the conference tournaments are going on. So ACC tournaments on, Big Ten, all the big conferences. Some of the little conferences are done already. So the UNC Duke game's on tonight, so that'll be a good one to watch.
Oh yeah.
So Zion's back now after his 5-game. He sat for 5 games because of his knee injury. So he went 13 for 13 last night and scored 29 points. So
Jeez.
crazy.
Yeah.
He didn't miss a shot.
In a current event today, I was just doing a current event and I looked
Yeah.
up sports articles, and there was one in the New York Times that thinks that Villanova is going to win the tournament.
No.
And they lost
Villanova sucks.
yeah, I know. They lost 4 of their guys to the NBA last year.
If
And
I
they're
had-
not even good anymore. I think it's going to be UNC or Duke.
I think if any team makes it, it's going to be. It might be a smaller school, but I bet it'll be from. It might be Duke. Duke is a really good team. UNC is also a really good team. I don't think Michigan's good enough to make a run. It really just all depends. So, I mean, who won it last year? You remember who won it last year?
Virginia?
No, they lost in the first round. They were the first
Not
team.
Virginia. I said not Virginia.
Ooh, I'm gonna figure that out because I want to
Okay.
see. I think.
Awkward silence.
It was Nova. Nova beat Michigan in the championship game last April. So, I don't think Villanova has anybody anymore though. So,
No, they lost a lot of good guys to the NBA.
yeah.
think Hillary's gonna run for president?
No.
No.
I hope she does, and then she just gets absolutely destroyed.
Destroyed
That'd be
again.
funny.
I think she made a statement saying she wasn't, but I still
Yeah.
hope.
There's a lot. The Democrats are running a lot of people this year.
Like that one new guy. I don't even know what his name is.
Beto
I like,
O'Rourke?
yeah, that guy.
He's not a new
Robert.
guy. Yeah, but he just announced he was running, even though he said like a month ago he wasn't going to, or like last. So it's kind of crazy.
He had a rally, like, a few miles away from Trump's rally.
Yeah.
And he had like 300 guys, and Trump had 30,000. Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's funny. Val, you haven't talked much.
Yeah, I know.
You should talk
Well,
some.
I was gonna bring something up on the sports topic. No,
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, is there still drama going on with Antonio Brown? I know there was like a lot of like.
So he wanted to get traded, right? Well, they
Yeah.
eventually they traded him to the Raiders.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so they traded him to the Raiders. So that's pretty much done with.
Yeah. Okay.
You hear about Le'Veon Bell?
No.
He signed with the Jets.
Wow.
Yeah.
Poor
Yeah.
Steelers.
Yeah.
They're
it
living
was-
under a rock.
Big Ben all by himself now. Yeah, have you been living under a rock?
Pretty much. I didn't watch any football last season. Isn't.
Well, it happened recently. So,
Oh.
This is all like Tuesday.
Oh. Okay.
Tuesday news. So
do you not watch ESPN on your phone on Snapchat?
No.
That's how I learned about it.
Something I wanted to bring up was I did a current event on Bryce Harper and how he got a $330 million 10-year contract to the Phillies.
it's crazy. And then you hear what he said in the first interview or whatever.
No,
He said, "I want to bring a championship to Washington, like the old team used to play for."
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's big oof.
Big oof.
Big oof.
Big mood. Big mood.
No.
What do you even do with that money though? It's just insane.
Wasted.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah, I
much.
guess.
They buy a
15
big
cars.
house,
Yeah.
a couple 2 chains, but it got me a few on.
Cocaine. Just kidding.
No, I mean, with that kind of money, like with LeBron James money, you can get like PEDs and not be detected for taking drugs. That's why LeBron James has been so good for so long. We'll talk about this now. My conspiracy theory. I think LeBron James is on.
Performance enhancing drugs.
Yeah, but so
Yeah.
That's what PEDs mean. I didn't
Yeah.
know
so he was
that.
really he was like when he first came to the league, you know how he's really little, you know,
Mhm.
and now he's like
Massive.
jacked, right?
No, he's yeah.
Well, he didn't like start getting bigger until he went to Miami, right, and played
Mhm.
with the Heat.
Yep.
So he started playing with the Heat and he started getting bigger and playing more minutes and whatever. So that's like okay, well he's getting bigger. Like of course he's a professional athlete. Like he's gonna be lifting and training so much harder. But the fact that he got like so much bigger so quick,
Mm-hmm.
and like
Yeah,
how
it's
his
kinda
minutes
fishy.
increased and how everything like
Roids.
that. Like
Yeah.
not even roids, just like human growth hormone or whatever.
Yeah.
So
That's a little fishy.
when he then went back to Cleveland,
Mhm.
there was like a stretch there in that first season where like he just looked tired
Mm-hmm.
and he looked like really like awful. He was playing awful.
Mm-hmm.
So he like took a break from playing and he went back down to Miami. And he comes back to play the rest of the season and he's like playing amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So like he's got some dude down in Miami
In
that's like
Miami,
juicing this guy up.
is he doing good? He's with the Lakers now.
Dude,
Right?
the Lakers are awful this year.
Are they okay?
They're so bad.
Lonzo's the best. Lonzo's amazing.
Actually, Lonzo probably might be the second best player on that team.
Who's first?
LeBron, of course. No, but like, so he went back to Miami, whatever. But there's like a thing I looked up and saw on a YouTube video. It's like the NBA's drug like testing policies are like nothing compared to like any other
Yeah.
like sports. They don't
Yeah.
like test their players for drugs. Like not even like, I mean you hear NFL players getting busted all the time for like smoking pot.
Yeah.
Like no NBA players ever get caught for that.
No.
Like it's like crazy. So like they don't test for anything. So and if what they do test for, guarantee they can make. Because I also saw a documentary about like Russian Olympic athletes who were doping
Mm-hmm.
using
Yeah.
like steroids.
Yeah.
And they like developed a new type where it doesn't show up in a drug test because like they're not looking for that like
That
type of
specific thing.
type
Yeah.
of, not strain but like like molecular makeup. So I mean, so with LeBron James money and how much money he gets paid for playing and his shoe contracts and his Sprite cranberry commercials,
Oh,
Um,
oh yes. Yes.
you know he's got to have enough money to be able to pay for, you know,
For
some
something there.
for some dope. So
There's probably a lot of athletes that do that though. not just LeBron.
No, yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah. LeBron's like the biggest like household name player that we think who actually does it. So.
I have another like conspiracy theory. You know how AirPods came out like
In 2016.
yeah,
Long time ago.
2016, and then all of a sudden there's like 3 million memes about AirPods. I think it's guerrilla advertising.
Yep.
Okay.
Honestly,
Really?
because
Yeah.
What was the
like
the Bird Box challenge? You guys
Yeah.
talked about that last
Yeah.
night. Like the Bird Box challenge was definitely guerrilla advertising.
yes,
Yeah.
it's guerrilla advertising is when you like make something else to advertise something.
So you start a campaign on like social media, or start like a meme with like a false account to boost your brand's popularity without like actually advertising. So people think it's just like a meme and that spreads like wildfire. But like if you just had your commercial out for like whatever product you're trying to advertise, that wouldn't do as well as like a meme. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In today's like,
And it's so
in
it's
a
so
society.
effective because I mean, even me, I've bought things like Sprite Cranberry or like a few games on PlayStation just because it's a meme.
Right,
Just
yeah.
for the meme of
So
it.
there's got to be a bunch of people out there that have AirPods that don't even use them.
I
but
feel
they're
like
just
people
I have
only get
AirPods.
AirPods so they can't speak broke.
Yeah, it's got to be it. It's got to be
If you
it.
ain't talking money, I don't want to talk,
Yeah.
man.
That's exactly what you said.
Yeah. Or like the Bird Box challenge.
Yeah,
It's an awful movie, but
Yeah.
like
It
all of a
is.
sudden the internet just started blowing up with like
Yeah.
these random Bird Box challenge.
Yeah.
That's
Definitely.
stupid. That's another conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Should have put that on last.
I know.
Last 2
We
week
missed
video.
out on a lot. That is 2 week video.
Couldn't post last week.
So sad.
What else? I was gonna say CWD because they're the deer head right there, but I was like, oh
But
wait, we covered
We
that.
already did that. Gun law. Oh no.
Gun control? No.
No.
What about that shooting at those 2 mosques?
In New Zealand.
In New
Yeah.
Zealand?
Yeah, I don't know enough about it to like.
I don't
Yeah, I
dive
don't
into
really
it.
know anything
Yeah.
about it.
All I know is that 49 people died.
There's like
At
40
2
people
different
died.
mosques.
Yeah, 40 people died at the first one, and like 8 died at the other one,
Yeah.
or 9.
I was gonna say something, but I held back.
40 plus 8 is 49. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like 250 something rounds that were shot off.
I thought you were gonna say people.
No,
Did
in
anyone-
like 6 minutes or something like that. Yeah.
Did anyone see like if they caught the guy or if he like killed
I
himself?
think they got him.
They caught him. Okay.
They found like 2 bombs in his car or something like that.
I said that. I did a current event on that today.
Oh, did you? Yeah, mine was kind of like that. It was like CNN saying how Trump ignored it or something like that. But
No,
then,
yeah.
then again, it's CNN.
Yeah.
I
So
CNN
biased.
is-
I tend to not use CNN because they're like mega biased, even
Mhm.
though they're not. Like they try not to be, but they are.
And that's something we could talk about too.
So I went to. I always go on Fox News or the Daily Wire,
No,
which are.
they don't try to be
They
not
are.
biased. They just are
They,
biased.
yeah.
And
They don't even like hide the fact.
from now on, I've been using like. From. This year, I've been using the Daily Wire, which is like Ben Shapiro's show,
Mm-hmm.
or Fox News, which are more Republican than Democratic, but they're not. They're not biased as
Yeah.
much as them.
New York Times is a little bit less biased. I use
I like
that
how
most
you
of the
added.
time.
I use that for my sports articles.
Like how you added like the as much because I feel like every news thing is
No,
biased.
yeah,
Well,
whatever you
they
look
have
at,
bias.
it's biased.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's like, if you look out there, there's nothing like neutrally biased.
No. Yeah.
Because everybody has a bias one way or the other. It doesn't matter whether it's politics or like personal preference for anything. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
So, bias is what makes us decide to do what we do and like what we like. So.
Yeah, it's on the article that I read. It was on Fox News, and it was talking about how like he tweeted out that he gave his warmest like respect or whatever to the New Zealand community.
Yeah.
Like all the big like Democratic news websites like CNN or just the ABC News that comes on at night
Yeah.
with David Muir or whatever, like
World,
yeah.
World News.
World News. They're like they always target Donald Trump in like a bad way.
Yeah.
Like they pick out something that he does and twist it so it looks bad. So it looks
They-
worse in
yeah.
his image.
Yeah.
That just makes me angry. 'Cause
It
it's
does.
like,
Fake news.
yeah. And people believe it. It's the dumb people in the
Well,
world
it's
that
'cause-
believe it.
Well, it's not the dumb people. It's just your average, like American,
Joes.
right? They
Yeah.
just like oh, let's turn on the news, and they turn on ABC, like the big ones. Like nobody watches
They'll
Fox.
be like, they'll be cooking and they'll be in the background. And
yeah,
like,
and they'll be like, oh, did you hear what Trump said today? And he's like, oh, Trump's an awful person. Like,
Yeah.
why do we vote for him? But I start to think like, with him winning, like, you almost got to think that more people aren't like listening to this garbage that the
Mhm.
left is starting to put out. So like, CNN and like ABC News and MSNBC, all these biased news corporations, like are biased for the left, like they spew a lot of garbage, but I don't think people like listen to it as much anymore.
No.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but I still think like a lot of people watch it, but like they're more hesitant to like believe what
Yeah.
anything goes on.
Do you think they realize that like they're actually doing that, like being biased, or do you think they're like actually in the right?
that's probably what they think.
I think-
so it's like, oh,
I
it's
think
my opinion.
that's
so
what
I
they
don't think it's
believe,
biased.
right? So they see something that what they believe is wrong,
Mm-hmm.
so they broadcast it
As wrong.
and
As wrong.
journalize it as something bad.
But,
Yeah.
So I got a book for Christmas. It's called How the Hollywood Took Over TV, or How the Liberal. It's by a Ben Shapiro book.
Yep.
And basically it talks about how Ben talks about how from the beginning of like the inception of the TV to now, it's been run by big liberal like companies.
Mhm.
So like it started off with, just to give you an example, I'm trying to think here, like liberal, these big liberal like Jews in New York, like they had radio broadcasts and stuff like that, and they transitioned to TV, and they were always left leaning. They always talk bad about like the Vietnam War and veterans and like whoever the president was at the time, if it was a Republican or whatever, and like eventually that evolved into like this elite group of liberals in Hollywood who like control almost every news station, every TV show, or write every TV show, every movie. So like now movies you see like Captain Marvel come out, it has to be a lead, a
Woman,
female lead,
yes,
or a minority lead,
Mm-hmm.
because they want to spread this thing what they think is good, which is they say it's diversity. They think diversity is good.
It's
Which
victimization.
I can agree with the whole diversity is good,
Mhm.
but it does. I don't care about like what you look like diversity.
Yeah.
I would like diversity of thought, right?
Yeah.
So like you and me, I'm sure we think different about different things,
Oh yeah.
and if we collaborate on things, I'm sure we can create things that'll benefit our society.
Mhm.
That's what I want. Not.
Yeah.
I don't want more. This might sound really bad, but like I don't. If I'm living in a country, I don't want more people who aren't like me, or like who don't. It doesn't matter if you look like me or not. I just want to make sure we think different, and we can have. I'm trying not to say. I'm trying not to sound super horribly racist about this, because like you know what I mean.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I diversity of skin color doesn't matter. Diversity of thought is what matters, and that's my point.
Yeah, like with the. I lost my train of thought. With the Marvel movie coming out, that's
Right. Yeah.
like
Captain
with
Marvel.
a woman based main character. I feel it like it's just victimization. Like,
Well,
no, like it's not really on the same topic as that, but victimization. Like white males are
the
the highest ranked,
hierarchy of
yeah,
privilege,
Yeah.
or something like that.
the
Yeah.
highest privilege, and then it's like
White females,
white
black
females,
males,
black males,
black
black females,
females.
and then all these like
gay, trans,
the more
stuff like that.
things that society thinks about you, the more you are a victim.
Yeah.
And those are the people that vote for liberal, like Democratic, because they.
Yeah.
I don't really know what.
No, I get what you're saying. Like
yeah, you know what
this
I'm saying.
this whole politics has turned into this whole identity politics,
Mm-hmm.
where if you aren't a person of color, or aren't gay, or aren't trans, you have a higher. Your opinion is graded higher, because you've been oppressed,
Mhm.
like throughout history, which I mean, black people have been oppressed throughout history. I mean, gay people have been harassed or oppressed throughout history. But this, just because it happened before doesn't mean that it continues today.
Yeah. No.
So people will call it like systemic racism and how like black people are treated today in this country, and they praise like black people and gay people and trans people's accomplishments, even though that they say, oh, we should respect what this person has done because they are set up in a system for them to fail, when in actuality it really isn't like that anymore. You know.
Yeah. And like, kind of like back to the movie thing, how you were saying like it, like if you're gonna put a woman or a minority in a role, cool, go for it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that's hurting. I feel like it's hurting their sales, and in somewhat the society.
Yeah, I mean, I see where you're coming from. But, like, I feel like at this point it's just like they're trying to get on the train of like, oh, this is what we want. This is what... They might not even be, like, consciously doing this, but this is like, oh, we have to find a role for this black, gay woman to be a movie star because we have to show that they can be, like, big movie names, too. When in actuality, it's like, you can't force a person into a role like that.
No.
So, like, you could have, Brad Pitt do a movie role, right? You'll make a lot of money. But if you, like, try to force somebody nobody's ever heard of and do, like, a huge role into a huge movie, just because they're black, I think they're going to make a lot of money, too, on this. Yeah, I mean, they're just trying to cash out on this whole identity politics thing. So.
I also feel like how in the NFL and a lot of other sports, how they're like kneel for the national anthem. I feel like
I pledge allegiance
I feel like
to the flag.
I feel like the people, like there's people out there that say like, well, I'm gay and I'm treated different and like, I mean, it's wrong. I feel like the people who actually are, and like, this sounds wrong, but like people who actually are don't have a problem with it, and see people that like want attention, so they're gonna go out of their way to kind of make this a big deal.
Yeah.
And then everyone's gonna jump onto it, and it's gonna become.
I have something to add on to that with, like the recent I wouldn't say new, but the recently made Nike commercial
With
about
Colin
like
Kaepernick?
all the no,
Or
not
the
that
woman,
one,
the woman one. Yeah.
woman one, the woman
The woman one? The women fun.
Yeah, but it'll say like, whoever said that women couldn't do this like 100-meter dash and win. No one.
No one
No one said it.
Yeah.
Literally nobody.
Yeah, I watched it.
the whole
plot of it, like.
Yeah.
And there was this chick that won like this massive Olympian running thing. I don't know. She was African American.
Switches sports and,
she
still wins. Like that swimmer. Yeah.
Yeah. And she had this disorder where like she gained a lot of muscle, like she had extra hormones and she gained massive amounts of muscle. So it was like, I wouldn't say, I'm not gonna go into that. I'm not gonna describe, but she was like buff. She was mega buff.
Yeah.
She was like
She
super
was
buff.
swole.
Yeah, and it's like who. They just say who would have thought, or who said that they couldn't do this race, or who said that they couldn't run in this race. No one said that.
Like at the end of that commercial,
Hold on,
it's
let me
like,
check the rule book.
No one.
at the end, Serena Williams is the narrator of that commercial, and like she talks about herself, and she says like, who would have said that a woman who got pregnant and had birth wouldn't win a Grand Slam? Like, no one. Nobody said
that.
you couldn't do that. Like,
Nobody said that.
Nobody said, Serena, if you have a kid, you can't play tennis anymore. Nobody said that to her, you know?
Yeah.
Just like the
Yeah?
Yeah, I had
Case
it in
in
my
point,
head.
done.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing I have wrong with that commercial is that
Commercial review.
like this has to go still with the political, the identity politics that we have today is that like these feminists are coming out and saying that women are mistreated. There's a pay gap.
It's ma'am.
No, but these feminists are coming out and saying, "Oh, America's the worst place to live right now," and it's like, well, like 200 years ago, you probably would have been right, but now you have the right to
Would you
vote.
rather be in Saudi Arabia where there's massive wars going on?
Right,
Yeah.
and you have to cover up your face in like a black burqa, and it's like the sun's beating down all the time, and it's hot, and you sweat in that thing.
Hot
You're
as
probably
balls.
dehydrated all the time. Balls is hot. Hold on, I'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
But like in America today, no, hold on, I'll tell you about it.
Okay.
Today in America, there's like as a woman in America, I'd rather. I'm not transgender, but I'd rather be a woman today in America than a man. More women go to college now than men do. Women are safer on their jobs now than men are. I mean, they can vote now, which it's been like a 100 years. They can vote now.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Since
But like
the
this is like
19th Amendment.
this is like the greatest time in history to be a woman in America, and you're still complaining.
And
Okay,
they still
another commercial. It was some random
commercial review.
off-brand commercial review. It was some off-brand commercial about like cooking ware. It was like, who said a little girl can't cook? No one. Who
Right.
said a woman couldn't grill? No one. Who said a man could not bake? No one.
That's what I was gonna do.
Okay.
It's just
Yeah, it's just silly.
it's silly.
It's
It's
silly.
goofy.
It's
Okay, speaking about goofy, so there's
Speaking of hot balls.
yeah, I want to get to that.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if I want you to get to that.
No. Okay, so his name is slipping my mind right now, but he's a heavyweight fighter in the UFC, right?
Mike Tyson.
No, he's black
Oh, okay.
though, but he's huge and
Yes.
he won a fight, right?
Mhm.
So after the fight, he took his shorts off, and Joe Rogan is interviewing him, and Joe Rogan's like, "Why do you have your pants off?" And then he just goes, "My balls is hot." It's the funniest thing. It is the funniest
Oh
clip
my
I've ever
God.
seen.
My balls is hot.
Yeah, I say that all the time. It's so funny. You like said it. It was okay. So ESPN's been doing like the whole UFC fight night.
Yeah.
So now they'll like actually like broadcast the whole fights
Mhm.
instead of like putting it on pay per view. And that was like the first one ESPN did. He said it like live on
My balls is hot.
It was awesome.
That's funny.
It's great. UFC's awesome.
Yes.
So there's a guy who just had his first UFC fight. He's from Kimberly, I think. Or
Like Wisconsin.
yeah, he's from Wisconsin.
Okay.
And he went and wrestled at Missouri, I think.
Yeah.
But now he's been doing like fights or whatever. So he was traded from a different it's not the UFC, but it's like a different league.
Yeah.
I know nothing about the UFC. I just watch the
Yeah.
fights,
Yeah.
right?
Same.
So his name is Ben Askren. So he was like a national champion in Missouri for wrestling, and now he's like just doing fights. He's like 34 years old.
Yeah.
He got traded in the UFC, so his first fight was the other like couple weekends ago.
Yeah.
And he was fighting this dude who's been in the UFC for like years. So like right away he like goes to shoot, and the dude just like beating the crap out of him. The Ben Askren gets on his back and he's gets beat up, but he got up and he's like all bloody. And then like 20 seconds later in the round, he gets the guy in a choke, and like his arm is up like this, and his arm falls down, and the ref calls it. And Ben Askren like choked the dude out and won after taking like a massive beating. It was crazy.
Jeez.
Was I gonna say that related to that? Probably something about wrestling, but
I'll give you a second to think about that. This is irrelevant. Did you guys hear that? Like, Conor McGregor got arrested.
Oh,
Again.
yeah.
He
Yeah.
got arrested.
Yeah.
and then
he's-
he got out on
he's
bail
getting
or
sued.
something.
He's getting sued by the guy for
Yeah.
like $15K
Yeah.
just because he broke his phone.
Yeah.
That's crazy how much he's getting sued for.
Yeah.
Like it angers me. I'm just gonna disregard what I couldn't remember and not think about it anymore.
All right, yeah, that's cool.
It angers me how like celebrities get so pissed off that people take pictures of them when they they did that to themselves. They made themselves famous.
No, yeah. If I
Yeah.
guess
You should be expecting.
You
that.
should-
You know what I mean.
if you are
You know
gonna
what I
accept
mean.
the
Yeah.
role of the fame or the popularity, you should be ready for that. And I guess I'm not famous, so I don't know. It could be harder.
It could be hard. Yeah.
I mean, I feel
Or
like
you could
it'd be
do,
fun,
like-
like right away, but I feel like
Get
it'd
old,
be
it gets pretty old.
It would
I
probably get
imagine.
old.
like,
Like
yeah.
that singer Billie Eilish or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
She had there was like a YouTube video, it was like the same interview but 1 year later, and she was talking about how like she'd get noticed like once a week, and now she can't go anywhere without it, and it's like she doesn't even leave her.
I've
home.
never even heard of that chick before.
I've never. Yeah. I mean, I knew who
No.
she is. Like,
Yeah,
probably
I've
heard
never
her
heard
songs,
any of her
like,
music,
once.
but
I mean, I'm sure the same goes for like.
I mean,
more
yeah, it goes for
popular
anyone.
celebrities,
Yeah.
Like, if I were to like be a musician and like make it big, I want to be like Marshmello or like Dead Mouse or
Yep.
like Daft Punk, because they always got like a helmet on. So like, you could go out,
You'd be going
Like-
to Walmart, and no one knows you.
put your helmet on, and like go out and do a show in front of millions of people, whatever, and then go backstage, take it off, and just slide into the crowd and just leave with them. Like they had no idea it's you. You know?
What?
You know what I mean? Like they had
Oh
no
my
idea if it's you
God.
or not.
And I feel like the whole, because when I used to be a little fanboy over Marshmello, I used to like Marshmello face reveal and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there's always like
Stayed
conspiracies
up all
that
night
he's
to
like
watch
just.
the Marshmallow Fortnite concert.
I did that.
Did you?
I did.
yeah, that was amazing. No, there's like YouTube videos about how he's just like Chris Comstat, like other unsuccessful VJ. But then I feel like
Sorry if the video's crooked. You'll have to deal with it. Just turn your phone.
I feel like it would almost be fun to have people try to guess who you are. Like I feel like it would be like fun to like tease the people,
Or like,
try to troll them, and
Yeah.
say, like with all these channels that with just gamers, and they post like a bunch of videos about gaming.
Yeah.
And once they get to like 1 million subscribers, they do a face reveal.
Yeah.
Like imagine having like 100 million subscribers. Being serious. And then like having
Some
a
of PewDiePie,
face
by the
reveal.
way.
Like you'll be super famous.
Mhm.
Like everyone knows your voice, but they don't know what you're like. And I feel like that's what like
No,
Marshmallow's like and stuff like that.
no,
I've never
yeah.
even heard Marshmello talk before.
I've he used to, and then he stopped so that people wouldn't know who he was. But yeah, I mean, especially with like,
That's the way to do it now.
I feel like
Fortnite
yeah.
dance.
I feel like I forget where I was going with this. There's a lot of popular YouTubers. There's a lot of popular YouTubers that I like to watch, such as like H2O Delirious, who has like 16 million now, and no one has an idea what he looks like. I feel like knowing what he would look like. Why?
I don't know why.
I feel like knowing what someone looks like almost ruins their art.
And you like lose interest because that's like the one
Yeah.
thing that they have. That's
Yeah, it's kind of like. I mean, I'm not saying that Marshmello has a bunch of fans because they want to know what he looks like. He has good music, but if he was to show himself, I feel like he would lose fans.
It's like
Oh, yeah.
Bigfoot. Like
What?
Okay, let me explain.
It's not like Bigfoot.
Let me explain.
You know, like
Let me
Bigfoot.
explain.
No.
No.
What like Bigfoot? I don't know what you're talking about.
Let me explain, okay?
Okay.
So, okay, so like millions of people believe in Bigfoot. Don't quote me, but probably
A
a lot,
lot
of people.
believe that
Okay.
Bigfoot exists. Right.
So I feel like it's gonna keep building. Theoretically, so let's just say that like it keeps building, but then they find him and it's like, oh,
Oh, hey, Bigfoot, what's up?
Yeah, like it's gonna be like, oh, that's Bigfoot. Like,
yeah,
hey,
okay,
that's a
not-
white-tailed deer.
Yeah, not-
Like, oh my
no,
God,
no.
it's a white-tailed deer. Let me pull out my phone and film it. Like, no, that's
now
not
you
gonna happen.
now you
anymore.
understand why I said like Bigfoot.
No, yeah, I
No,
understand.
okay.
Okay, not irrelevant.
Like once they,
once they like
Yeah,
realize,
alright, yeah.
Yeah. I
so
feel
it's like
it's like Bigfoot. I feel like
my balls are hot.
I feel like not
Let me
knowing
show you the video.
either something like what someone looks like or if there's something like aliens or Bigfoot. I feel like that's almost. I feel like that's almost what like. This sounds weird. Like strives people every morning. Like
Like people wake up trying to find Bigfoot.
No, I mean like
That's the
That's
only
like-
reason they get up.
like the reason that we have like we've been the first podcast was about conspiracy theories. If everyone knew the
It
answer
wouldn't
to
be a
that,
ser- it wouldn't
we
be-
would have been down 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Instead of
It would have been more boring.
47-minute segments about not conspiracy theories.
Yeah, that's
Well,
true.
the thing is, there's so many different opinions that people have about it, and it's still a mystery. And
And then there's like, oh, aliens exist. Oh no, they don't. And then there's just like these random people that are like, oh no, aliens are dogs. It's just
Freaking frogs game.
no, it's just like people like to like branch off of conspiracy theories,
And-
making them even
yeah.
harder to.
Like how some people actually believe the Earth is flat.
It
It is. No.
No, Mom and I watched a documentary.
Yeah.
And it's like the people are so dumb. They're like, oh yeah, we live in a massive dome like the Simpsons, and Antarctica is actually just a ring of ice that goes around our Earth.
Yeah,
And that's the sun
so
and the
we're
moon.
an island.
What's the dome called?
oh,
Wait.
It's called something.
I don't know.
Oh, I
And
don't
then
know.
the sun and the moon are just two lights that spin around in the sky.
Wait, actually, if you think about it though, this is just stupid, but I just thought of this. If Antarctica is like a thing that goes all the way around, we're an island.
We are an island.
We are.
Shoot.
You think about it, right? All of America is
Yeah.
one big island.
Everything
you
is
know
an
what
island. Yeah.
Technically,
I
yeah.
don't know, I feel stupid.
Right? Because isn't like Earth's like not
70%
water is
water.
like 30% not water.
Yeah, yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
30% not water.
And then 70%
Water.
water.
You know, man, everything in the universe is either a potato or it isn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I have to agree.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but I like it.
Balls is hot.
Balls is hot.
That's like saying that something happened at least 9,000 years ago. It's like a general statement.
In the last 9,000 years.
Or freaking
Like in our last video,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it happened sometime since the
Since-
1200s. And I was like, in the
Well,
you're not
90s,
wrong.
maybe.
it's like
1250s maybe. That might be pushing.
Yeah.
Well, you're not
You're
wrong.
not wrong, yeah.
Like,
And it was in 1940, so I was like, oh, we were right.
mhm.
And like, I feel like we shouldn't be marked wrong on test stuff for that because it's right.
It
I mean,
is
you're
right.
right. You're right.
You're right. I'm right.
You're right. You're right.
I'm right.
I'm right.
I am taking this class in school right now. It's called History: The End of the World.
Oh, nice.
Oh, you're gonna enlighten us on the end of the world.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
want. I don't
that's
want
right.
to. Okay,
Ooh,
I'll talk about
yes.
that. But so this class is like we're studying about like religions and people who take those religious ideas and beliefs like they believe that the world's gonna end like soon.
Yeah.
And they do like this crazy stuff. So like there's these group of people who like they're called the Essenes. They're called the Essenes, and they were like really early Christians.
Okay.
And they believed that like the world was gonna end. So they all like packed up all their stuff like from Jerusalem and went to Egypt.
Yeah.
Like they just do crazy stuff, and they like wouldn't eat food. They like fasted all the time, and they were like, all right, we can't have kids anymore because the world is gonna end. So like they just stopped like
Okay.
trying to have kids, and it was just like crazy. They did a bunch of crazy stuff.
Yeah, I find it like I was in Mexico in 2012, and that was when the Mayan calendar ended.
Yeah.
And I remember
remember
we were going into town, and there was just like white vans and military vehicles, and people just like jumping out with ARs, and it was like I found it so weird that so many people thought that the end of the world was right then.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Like a lot of people like
I had a dream about a bunch of white vans.
don't
the
keep
shoe
going.
or the with the toasters.
We gotta get the shoe and like confirm the Vans challenge.
I did. It works.
It does.
So I promised you guys I would tell you guys about how I think the world's gonna end, which I kind of learned about this in class.
Yep.
So, you guys know Israel is a country, right?
Mhm.
And their capital is Jerusalem.
Yeah.
So, in Jerusalem there is where the original like temples were born or were made.
Yep.
Not born, but built. Built by like the early Jews, and so the first one was built and destroyed by the Babylonians.
Mhm.
The second one was built and destroyed by the Romans, like around the time Jesus like was alive.
Mhm.
And they believe the Ark of the Covenant, where the Ten Commandments are stored by Moses, are like buried underneath this original place where these two temples were made. But right now, current day, 2019, March 15th, there is,
Like 7 something.
yeah,
8:13 and
Never mind.
28 seconds.
Yeah.
there is the Dome of the Rock. So it's said to be one of the places where the Prophet Muhammad from the Muslim religion, Islamic religion, like had a revelation or something like that. But it's the second most holiest place in Jerusalem or in the Islamic world right now.
Mhm.
So there are these group of Orthodox fundamentalist radical Jews who are in Jerusalem, right, that want to blow up the Dome of the Rock and rebuild like the temple,
Like the original.
blow up the Dome of the Rock and then rebuild the temple where the original temple stood.
Yep.
And they believe that's going to cause World War III, which will bring like their Messiah, the Antichrist, and Jesus to come back, and that would set forth the
rapture.
the prophecy of the Book of Revelations.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
And like it's super, like I'm not even gonna get to the end of the world stuff because like that I don't know if that's really gonna happen or not because a lot of people speculated that it was gonna happen and never happened,
Yeah.
right?
in 2012.
So, but if they do end up trying to like
Awful movie.
blow up the Dome of the Rock, be prepared for like World War III to happen, because like if that blows up, then everybody who lives in the Middle East and is Muslim is going to
Go
like
crazy.
go crazy and want to destroy Israel.
Mhm.
And then you got to be prepared for us to get into war with all those countries, like the whole world. It'll start World War III.
Yeah.
Hopefully it happens before I turn 18.
Why?
Because then I don't have to sign up for selective service.
So like,
True.
kind of off that, like the ancient pyramids in Egypt.
Giza.
In Giza.
Yeah. So
Still
like,
Egypt.
there's a lot of topics. There's a lot of topics you can go off of that. But what do you think is like in those besides like treasure and tombs? That's
Tombs.
like,
Treasure.
what do you think is in there that could tell us about the future? Because I mean, they were really good at like cave drawings about like how the world would look like now, and some of them are correct. Do you think there's some that are even more future tense that could be correct?
I've never heard about this before.
Oh.
Like,
Maybe like scribes and stuff.
it just like what do you mean? Like they saw the future?
It was like-
or they just have predictions that were close.
There was like drawings of like, I mean, I guess you can't really say that's like what it is, but they had drawings of like the Great War, saying like this would be like the war to end all wars, and then that was World War I.
Then there was Second World War.
So
The war.
I mean, yeah, it's weird, but
I mean, it's tough.
Mhm.
Sorry. I mean, there's a lot of people that predict stuff and that ends up coming true. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, you gotta sometimes blame that on coincidence. You know?
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if they actually like saw the future. 'Cause I don't think anybody can see the future
I doubt, yeah.
except for weathermen, and they're wrong a lot of the time. So.
Yeah, yeah.
I think. Never mind.
Well, go ahead.
No,
Like
I can't.
Bigfoot.
Yeah, Bigfoot. I predict that the monster is gonna be gone by the end of this episode.
The monster. Oh yeah, you're probably right. You're probably wrong. Most likely right.
Now I'm gonna
Mine
not
died,
drink
it's
my
dancing
monster
like
just
That
to...
says wave.
Yeah,
Well,
you're allowed to do that.
Okay, hold on. I don't have to go yet. Just wondering.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You should edit that out.
What?
No.
You should edit that out.
No.
Okay,
I don't know how to edit.
We don't
so
have Kara yet.
This is
Yeah.
this is gonna be the raw.
You just put it on your computer
it.
and just open up like go put it on mom's laptop, open up iMovie and just like cut, and just put it together. Doesn't matter if it's just a random jump, just
That's what happens in my YouTube channel. Shout out to my YouTube channel, Shishmania. Go like and subscribe every single.
shout out.
Go like and subscribe every single video. He's going to the bathroom.
Kind of like Bigfoot. Is
Yeah, not really.
Well, this is interesting.
I feel like not editing videos kind of makes it like the raw footage. It makes
It's
it
kind of more
funnier.
fun.
Yeah. Like the awkward silences are all like
Funny because
funny.
something stupid breaks it up, like awkward silence.
Yeah.
Kind of like Bigfoot.
motorcycles.
What?
Oh no.
That went outside.
No, it did not. It's right there.
What outside?
Nothing.
What?
Welcome back.
Thanks.
So I'm Ashley.
Part 2.
I'm Mason.
I'm Gavin.
And I'm
this
Val.
is-
I forget where we were.
We were on
End of the world.
Bigfoot.
No, we weren't.
No, we were talking about England or Egypt.
Oh yeah.
England,
England.
land of Harry Potter.
What if they do find the Ark of the Covenant, and when they open it, it's gonna burn everyone like it did in the movie?
The Ark
in
of the
Indiana
Covenant?
Jones.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna
Oh,
what?
I'm so confused.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool.
I feel like there's.
That'd be pretty sick.
I don't know what I feel like there's. I don't know how to describe it, so I'm just not gonna say.
For the end of the world, I just think that a meteor is probably the most likely.
I've watched like videos where it's like the possible, like endings of the world, and it's like, well, the Earth goes closer to the sun by this much each year or whatever, and eventually it'll get there in like a long time.
Or the moon strays an inch away from the Earth every year, so that means that the tides are
it'll
gonna
be
kill
like
us.
a giant tsunami or whatever.
Sick.
I
I'm
don't
ready.
think
though.
that-
Dude, bro, I can't wait.
I'm
Dude,
so excited.
hit some gnarly pounders, bro.
I wonder what it would be like to see a tsunami. Like
Probably
you,
wouldn't
I feel like it'd not be. I think.
Yeah, it probably would
Are
not
you
be
saying
cool.
from a
Like,
distance, or
from a
like you're like
distance.
running from it?
Yeah.
I feel like running from it would be kind of scary.
I have to agree with you a little
Yeah.
bit.
That's
I agree.
that's an accurate
accurate.
that's an accurate
Accurate. Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But like to see it just like not do any harm or anything, just like it, just to see. Okay, so you imagine it.
Yeah.
And you see it in videos,
Mhm.
but it's nothing like the real thing.
No, like,
That's
yeah.
what I mean.
I think nothing on a video.
Just like
can really
Bigfoot.
do
You see
justice.
fake Bigfoots.
Big feet.
edited-
Stop bringing up Bigfoot.
And it's like,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
you
got
see
you,
like
yeah.
alligators in videos and stuff, and then you go to a zoo, and then you go to a zoo, and it's like, oh, I didn't know they were actually like that.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
oh, they look so much smaller on video. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
For sure. All right, question.
Yes.
Speaking about animals, had this debate with my football team during a lifting session.
I feel like it's not gonna be about animals.
Who do you think wins in a fight? A silverback gorilla or a grizzly bear?
A shark.
No, that's not.
Oh wait. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna answer the question, and I'm gonna make up a funny topic. Okay.
All right. All right.
Okay. So you see, the gorilla has like the whole power and like strength,
Right.
but the grizzly bear has like the weight in pounds and the sharp teeth. So I feel.
And the shark claws. Don't
And the
forget
shark,
about the
I
claws.
feel like the gorilla
And the
would have
hair.
to have like close combat. I mean, they both would, but the bear would have
Ranged
mid-range attacks.
If someone can like send us a video about
About a silverback gorilla and,
And
a
a
grizzly bear fighting.
grizzly bear fighting, that'd be great.
Oh yeah, so that topic is the. Did you hear that Mike Tyson was gonna pay like any zoo 10,000 to fight a gorilla?
Yeah.
Smart.
Is that all you're gonna bring up?
No, yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. 'cause I thought it was funny.
All right.
You
Another
could've
point
just
about
said, like-
gorillas. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
Another point about gorillas is I think that instead of it's Bigfoot, I feel like it's just a release.
Stop! Stop!
Okay.
All right.
That was
Stop
just supposed to
talking
be
about
dumb.
Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Okay, so like you know how like bodybuilders get huge and like super strong,
Like LeBron.
like
LeBron?
like Arnold, right? When he was
Oh,
big and strong and not
big Arnold.
old and crusty.
Yeah.
But like imagine if you got like a gorilla on a bodybuilders program, how huge and strong they would be. You know, we've never seen a gorilla at full strength.
No, we have not.
It's crazy.
I feel like the gorilla would beat the bear just because, like.
Why?
I feel like the
Well,
shark
no.
would win.
Sharks? You know what sharks?
No, like I think it can change directions and move faster. I don't know. It might be able to get behind it, and like. I don't
Are
know.
you
I don't
saying-
know.
I know. I'm pretty.
I don't know.
I'm more afraid of a bear than a gorilla. But that's,
I'm definitely.
but that's because we live in the like northern like part of Wisconsin. Like bears are a real threat, and
Yeah.
like gorillas
No.
aren't.
Yeah.
Okay, I
You know?
feel like with that, I was gonna bring up Bigfoot, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I feel
Please
like with
don't.
that, you could like, you see a bear and you just like flop dead.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be like, oh, he's probably dead, so I'm just gonna go over and check him out, maybe bite him a few times, but not straight up maul you.
Yeah.
I feel like if you did that to a gorilla, you just come over and just start pounding on your face.
Just like
I don't-
crush your skull.
Just like elbow drop.
Randy Slytherin, watch out!
RKO out of
RKO.
nowhere.
Yeah, I feel like just they don't have the same instincts.
Yeah.
So maybe it'd be like a whole different
Kind
thing.
of, yeah, kind of along with that, like, kind of like with Harambe incident, how people argued how it was, like, protecting the child, and that's because gorillas and, like, monkeys are very close to humans, like, they have the kind of same structure and stuff. That made no sense.
No, it makes sense. I understand what you meant. Yeah, I understand
So
what you
I
meant.
feel like a fight against a gorilla you could, like, get yourself out of it easier than a bear mauling you.
Maybe the gorilla, since it's like a human, it would play dead, and then when the bear comes over to bite him a few times, it would like just grab its throat and then RKO him. I had a book that's like about, I think it's like killer predators. I don't even think that's what it actually is. No, it's not. And it shows like situations of like maybe
what to do. Or?
a saltwater crocodile and a great white shark fighting. I think that was one of them for
Whoa.
sure. And it shows
That'd
like
be wild.
and it shows like and it shows stats of the animals, as in like
This is a 99 overall. So
it'll show like the weight and how many teeth they have and like the probability that they would win.
and some animals are
99
just, like,
health. And 99
some
attack.
animals are just crazy. Like if I fought, if you put me against a squirrel, I'd probably get whooped. Like animals are insane. Like especially when they feel like endangered. Even humans, like
Adrenaline.
Yeah,
Imagine the adrenaline
rough.
Imagine the adrenaline rush of like a gorilla. You know how a mom, like there's a story about a kid that got trapped under a car and the mom like picked up the
Like,
car.
pick up the car, yeah.
Oh,
The gorilla's like 90 times stronger.
It's just like
and
it's
it's
up like a crane.
Like, yeah, like you just lift a house from the
Just
ground.
like one piece. No, but yeah, even when like that's like when there's like a not a life threatening, but like maybe life threatening like to something else, you need to save it. But it's even. Shut up! I have a bad stutter.
No, I wasn't laughing at
Oh,
that.
okay. There's. I feel like the adrenaline rush is even more when it's your life that's in danger. Like, I mean, like, there's a lot of places I could go with this. Because some people, they get like that superhuman strength or whatever, and they know they're able to survive. But then there's some people, like how Steve Irwin died. He was a master of animals, and when he got stung by a stingray, his first reaction was like to pull it out. And being a master of animals, he should know not to do that. So I feel like some people.
It's like a fight or flight
Yeah,
situation,
yeah.
but it's like life or death.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what do you think the best option is to survive?
Oh, his,
And I'd be like,
his body was like,
Yeah.
his brain was like, pull it. It's not supposed to be in my chest. Like,
That's
pull it out.
exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like off the topic of you know how you're talking about giving roids to a gorilla.
I never
Just
said
see-
giving roids, like getting it on a weight,
Just
like
getting it
having
on-
lift weights.
So imagine having like a blue whale, giving like a blue whale roids,
I
making
honestly.
him lift weights. I don't know.
How would it
How?
lift weights though?
Just like a whale, just like. No, whales are.
I picture,
whales are scary, though.
I picture Larry the Lobster from
Dude.
SpongeBob.
Yeah.
I'd honestly rather run into a shark than a whale.
Then a whale. Oh,
Dude, you know how scary it would be?
Dude, those things are huge.
Whales
Yeah.
are
That's why.
one of my favorite animals, and they're so like interesting to like look at. But they're actually they can be like I watched this like Snapchat video where this guy like it thought it was like him. This whale thought this guy that was like a diver studying the whales was a seal, and like had him in its mouth like halfway in its mouth, and then he like I don't even know what he did, if it was like it like went down a little bit, rolled over, and then just like opened its mouth and he swam back up. But I mean, imagine getting mistaken for a seal by a blue whale. You're not getting out of
I
that.
don't think blue whales eat seals.
I don't think they do either, but just if they did.
Okay, but like, say you're just swimming, like you're snorkeling, this would never happen.
Yep.
But like, I'd rather get attacked by a shark than be eaten by a blue whale because they got that baleen, which is like
Mhm.
super tough rods.
Yeah.
Imagine getting impaled by all of those and just getting chunks a bit
I-
off you.
I feel
I'd
like-
rather get chunks
I
bit
would
off of
I'd
me.
rather
I'd rather
see
not
a shark
swim in the
you.
ocean.
I'd rather have neither of those things happen to me.
The chance of a shark attacking you, it just really depends on like what kind it is and what the situation is. Like say it's a like tiger sharks, I'm pretty sure are like super vicious, but then like
Sort of bull sharks.
yeah, those two. I can't really think of any other kind of sharks, but like just I'll
Great
tease-
white sharks, tiger sharks, sand sharks.
Are sand sharks vicious?
Are they?
I don't know. I don't study sharks.
Are they?
Okay,
Am I
let's
talking
just
to
say
me?
they're not. It kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. If they had like a baby nearby, maybe they would attack.
Sand sharks, I think, are ratchet.
Or like depends on what you wear. I guess.
Oh. Oh, the tea's done.
Shut up. Take my monster in peace.
Okay, I was off of that topic. I can't even remember what we were talking about.
I
But I had an
can't
idea.
We're talking about like sand sharks and land sharks
Anyways,
and whales, big whale
big
teeth.
whales.
Water's not wet.
Is water wet?
That's
No.
politics.
We gotta think of something to think of fast. Otherwise, we will actually have to edit.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
I don't know.
Who do you think would win? A coyote or a fox?
Are foxes like really? I don't think
They're
aggressive.
sly.
A coyote, hands down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking of something to think
Oh,
of.
okay.
Would you rather fight a koala bear with an AK-47 or a sloth with an RPG?
You see, here's
Or who
here's-
would win in a fight between the two?
I'm gonna say the koala with the AK because the sloth is super slow.
Yep.
So it'll be like,
And a sloth is
by
like
the time they get halfway there, they're gonna be melted.
a sloth is like
Yeah.
is like this, and an RPG is like this. So,
Very accurate
So, like,
representation.
I mean, I just picture sloth as like.
No, it'd be like this.
It's just like hinged out. Oh, never mind.
Wow, this is weird.
This.
Do you think sloths blink fast
Do they
or
play?
slow? Do they blink? Okay, here's another conspiracy theory.
I tried.
Do you think oxygen is poisonous and it just takes 75 to like 100 some years for it to actually like kick in?
No, because if you don't breathe, you die. If it was a poison,
Yeah.
if it was a poison, then you could live without it, right?
Yeah.
Rock, hard place, me.
I think. Back on conspiracy theories, have you ever heard of chemtrails? You know what chemtrails are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think those are true or not? Like
You
real?
think global warming's true?
I don't think global warming is. I think climate change is somewhat true. So throughout the history of the Earth, there have been periods of hot times and periods of cold times,
Ice Age.
like
and-
ice
yeah.
ages and stuff. Like, I just feel like we're in a part where, like, obviously the seasons are changing a little bit. You know,
Medium.
not too spicy, not too not spicy.
Not
Spicy meat
not too
boy.
unspicy.
Papa's
You know what I mean?
Pizzeria.
Just right. Like porridge.
right.
Like room temperature.
Right.
That's like how our Earth is. We're like in the just
Our
right
Earth has
section.
room temperature.
Or flat Earth.
Are we cubicle
Yeah,
Earth?
how is there different temperatures? Is there like vents that
Like AC all over the world.
Yeah, like how
There's a
do they-
massive AC.
How do they determine? Yeah, that's a question. How is like different parts of the Earth different?
Mm-hmm.
if it was a flat Earth?
Yeah.
Because I understand like how north to south gets hot and cold with like the equator and where the sun hits. Shut up.
Would it be like